I'm always hesitant to talk before like recording a podcast because a lot of times what happens is you say brilliant stuff, and
Yeah.
the way you say it is like with a lot of vibe,
Yeah.
and then you can't recreate that.
Well, wouldn't go that far.
Well, I mean, the
Pretty
authenticity
good
of
at
some things like that.
recreating it. I can act.
Alexa, be quiet.
I am an actor.
Are you an actor?
I like to pretend I am. I like to act.
Have you
Uh,
ever actored?
I actor every day. You think you know me.
I was only acting. You remember that one?
I do, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I cry that all the time and no one ever remembers it.
What's wrong with them?
I, bro,
They're brilliant.
bro, I don't know. Dude, when I was on Suzanne's stage, that was a great stage for us. You're gonna do really, really well on that stage.
Yeah, I hope so.
I mean, unless you just botch it.
Well, I've never sold from stage, so there's a good chance I watch it. I'm hoping I don't, but anything can happen.
Let's hope you rock it out.
I'm being optimistic.
Yeah.
Plus, who can really resist this?
Nobody with that attitude.
Yeah, it's pretty tough.
So awesome. I think did I dream or did I hear you're not doing that you're switching to something else?
What do you mean?
Bro, I think you were in my dream last night.
I think you were dreaming.
I think I dreamt you're gonna do something else.
Like, not do my event?
No, like not do marketing anymore.
Oh, well,
I
I
dreamt
mean,
you were gonna become an actor.
no, you did not.
No, I'm serious. It was something that's wild. Like you weren't even in the dream, but we were talking on the phone or someone was talking about you.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, he's gonna go do this now. He's not doing marketing anymore. And I was like, oh crap, I want to take his coaching.
Well, that's kind of possible because like the posture I'm taking is it's not that I'm not doing marketing, but the posture I'm taking is kind of like bending in some personal development. So,
What do you mean?
um, but it's still like behavioral. It's like how do you get your clients to want to buy? How do you? It's yeah. So I mean, I'm not doing marketing.
Cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we're pushing into is the personal growth
Hmm.
time. So here's what this pod's about, and we'll probably use some of this in the pod if it's okay for you. This
Yeah.
organic conversation. I want to give coaches a real resource for the 3 M's. And this is where my company is going as a whole as well. So our why has been we believe you have a God-given mission only you can do can be fulfilled and funded through your business. And Black Belt is how to sell from stage, how to be a world-class speaker who makes massive impact, raving fans, and a rush of clients every time you speak. What I'm seeing though is there's a space in the market that I want to move into, and it's first is how do you magnetize people to you. So how do you get people to come to you? And magnetizing is a combination of your messaging and your marketing vehicle. The second M is your methodology, and that's how to structure your coaching program so it's super effective. And one of the shifts that we're really putting forward, I played for you that clip. You heard that clip from Ceiling Fire.
Yeah.
It's one of your islands needs to be a breakthrough island. Like everybody, and like you and I have been talking about identity stuff,
Yeah.
has to be able to help people break through. And then the third island is mentor, like helping them become the right mentor and have the right mentor. So, which one of those are you most passionate about? And we could touch on all three, but I have a feeling it's the first one, the magnetize, and I'm curious to hear what you have to say about all of them.
Actually, I think it's probably the last one. How do you become a new person? Like, what is the process of transformation of identity for sure?
Let's talk
Um,
about that.
yeah, I mean,
So,
they're all entangled.
so let me do your introduction though, so people know who you are.
Okay.
Alexander uses behavioral psychology to expose the fundamental error in modern entrepreneurship by trying to do what's right. You're secretly building a business you hate. Oh my God, have you been reading? Gosh, have you been reading from my book? After earning and losing millions following other people's blueprint, Alexander discovered that entrepreneurs fail not because they lack strategy, but because they believe they're filling their lives with what they don't want. His approach helps entrepreneurs distinguish the pain that drains them and the pain that grows them. Alexander's managed as many as 30 full-time employees, built a multi-million-dollar company, has learned what works when big money and people's livelihoods are on the line. The insights he shares and teaches come from building, scaling, failing, and rebuilding. For entrepreneurs who freeze when it's time to sell, feel exhausted by their marketing, or secretly resent the business they built, Alexander offers science-backed methods to become a leader, marketer, and closer your business needs. So welcome to the stage, and I'll say who you are for me. I met Alexander um, at a mastermind in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. It was the weekend Betsy and I found out we were pregnant. He's one of the first people we shared with, and we held our most gross sales event ever at his studio up there, and just a brilliant mind. So Alexander, welcome to the Promised Land podcast. Good to have you.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So we were talking about the 3 M's, magnetize, methodology, and mentorship. You said that mentorship speaks most to you, like becoming the mentor.
Yeah.
What talks to you that?
I have kind of been always the adult in the room. I'm an only child in an upper middle class white family from Canada. And in that regard, I've always had this, I don't know, tendency to sit at the adults' table instead of the kids' table at Christmas dinner type of vibe.
Yeah.
I take care of people. I've run a business my whole life. I've had employees since I was, I don't know, 17 basically.
Really? What was your
Yeah.
first business?
Ran an IT company. Well, I mean, it started by building and selling people computers from parts, and then I eventually enrolled some service businesses in Calgary, like employee-based businesses, to hire me to do their IT support.
Mhm.
And I did that for a while, 10 years-ish, maybe 15 years.
Uh-huh.
Um, Desk side network administration, end user technical support, servers and infrastructure, all that stuff. Like I'm like I don't know, like a reasonably skilled level 3 network engineer, server administrator. I can fix just about any computer problem you might have, although I don't want to and I hate it. I can. I've got those skills. Um, and like I really have a desire to help people live a meaningful and fulfilling life.
Mhm.
I think that's why most of us get into entrepreneurialism, is because we've got this imagination that living a fulfilling life is going to be more possible if we're under our own command and being the captain of our own ship and master of our own fate, so to speak.
Yeah.
And like the way that happens is mostly based on the stories and the narratives and the identities that we're creating for ourselves or that we find ourselves in. And that's been something that I've been studying for a long time.
Something you said to me that so I've heard you talking a lot about identities lately, and something you said recently is I was talking about marketing, and I said, yeah, we hired someone to do marketing or something. You're like, that's the problem. I was like, what? You're like, you're not being the marketer, and that you have to be the marketer. And I was like, interesting. And I've been studying with this guy, Steve Larson. Do you know Steve yet?
Yeah, well, I've not met him, but I know of him through Marley.
Yeah, and he's been talking about like making noise, like P.T. Barnum and stuff. And so I'm like, I really need to learn to be the marketer, put on that marketing hat, make some. So tell me more about that, like the identity of being the marketer or
Yeah.
whatever.
And I hesitate to say, actually, like, it's so many of these ideas are not black and white, but like it's important that we communicate them in black and white. So on one hand, I'm like, yeah, you absolutely have to be the marketer in your business. But I also despise the idea of telling you what you have to do or be. So there's like, I want to pull these ideas apart a little bit and lean into a couple concepts. So concept number one is what makes an entrepreneur an entrepreneur. And I think most people think that the skill they have makes them an entrepreneur. Like their magic trick, the gift they have inside that they want to share with the world, whether that's healing or whether it's a service or whether it's a modality, it's a coaching framework, like whatever it is that lights you up. Most people think, okay, my job is to take that thing and put it in a box and package an offer and sell that to the world, and that's what makes me an entrepreneur. The thing is, though, what has happened in our industry being the online marketing and coaching industry, is that we've been taught, or there's been like this conversational reciprocal feedback loop that has happened between marketing service providers and entrepreneurs that has said, you don't go market this, focus on your magic trick, focus on your skills, like teaching people to sell or teaching people to speak stage or whatever, and I'll show up in your life and I'll save you from this thing you don't want to do called doing marketing and therefore being a marketer. And I'm going to be the person who wraps your magic trick in the thing called sales. The thing is, I've run an agency, a full stack, vertically integrated marketing services agency for coaches and online entrepreneurs now for 10 years.
What's full
And
stack?
full stack. So I didn't want to leave something out of control. I wanted to control everything. So we did everything from writing the copy, building the funnels, doing the video, marketing automation, copy and creative, like the whole thing, so that you don't have to sit in the middle and be the project manager. Another way that I was helping my clients not be something they probably should be. I was like, I will manage it. I'll become your outsourced CMO. I will manage the team. I will deliver the result called a funnel. And that funnel will be a lot like me bringing a wheelbarrow of money into your backyard and dumping it on the ground for you, which was like, it's the ideal. Everyone's like, oh, I can't, if only I could find that CMO or that agency that could give me that magical return on my investment. I was like, I'm going to do that. And I didn't really have words for it, like inside my experience of the agency, but over time I was becoming pretty bitter and pretty resentful because there was this subtext, and it didn't really matter how consciously we attempted to communicate with the client or the client attempted to communicate with us. What would happen is the client would end up sort of, these are my words, not their words. They're really looking to be saved. They're really wanting someone to just take their magic trick to the market. Alexander, can you just like get people to want to buy my stuff? And I was like, I'm going to do my best. The problem is that the thing that makes you an entrepreneur isn't your ability to do your magic trick. The thing that makes you an entrepreneur is being able to sell your magic trick. And there's this, I think there's like this quantum spiritual energetic or religious feedback loop that happens when an entrepreneur has abdicated the part of what it is they want in their life that's necessary for them to get it. And by hiring me, they were abdicating what was necessary, which is helping people decide that they want to buy. And so
when there's something happens spiritually or something happens energetically, when people abdicate, and not everybody knows what abdicate. I do, but for the people who don't know what abdicate means, what's I'm just kidding. Like when they void, when they don't do it, when they move away from.
Let's pull up the real definition, because I think it's worth double clicking on this word.
Let me make you co-host. You're welcome to screen share it if you'd like to.
Sure. This is what Google says. Number one, of a monarch, to renounce one's throne, and two, fail to fulfill or undertake a responsibility or duty. Now, I would love to pick this apart because I think like the construction of these words to some degree is magic. I think that there's a lot of depth in metaphor and in symbolism, and so I want to dig into this.
Sure.
One, from the perspective of being a sovereign, powerful creator, what does it mean to have a throne? It means to be in command of one's own destiny, to be central to their role in their life, let's say. But more importantly, number two, to fail to fulfill or undertake a responsibility or duty. What I think is important about that is when most people hear the words responsibility or duty, they hear it from the perspective of something given to them by someone else. They're like, I don't want responsibilities or duties that are being imposed on me. And so I want to take that definition and throw it away. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is that I think each of us has a God-given responsibility, not a man-given responsibility. Like if Alexander wants what he wants in his life, Alexander has a God-given responsibility to engage in a process of becoming the man who has it. Like you brought up identity transformation. If Alexander genuinely wants something, then my God-given responsibility or duty is to become the person who ends up having it. Not to do certain things, that's optional, but like to become the man who has it. Otherwise, it's not really what I want. And so Right. And so as entrepreneurs, we're like, I'm gonna try to get around what, and now this is Alexander, I'm projecting, but I think I'm mostly right about it. I'm gonna try to get around my responsibilities in becoming the person who has what I say I want by abdicating the part of getting what I want, uh, which is helping other people decide they want to give it to me. That's marketing. The core capability of marketing and sales is helping a person decide they want to buy, helping a person decide they want to give me money, helping a person decide they want to step into the transformation I can help them achieve or that I can sell them. And if there's an entrepreneur listening to this and you're imagining, I'm going to get away with not having to develop that capability because I've got a story, I just want to do my I just want to touch bodies. I just want to do my healing. I don't want to be a marketer. I just want to do my thing. I would like to inform you that I believe one of the cornerstone responsibilities or duties of entrepreneurialism, and also, by the way, the most valuable one, I don't know why you'd want to delegate this anyway, is the capability of helping a person move through the psychological transformation necessary to pull out their credit card and give it to you. And so, in that regard, you have a duty to be the marketer in your own world. You know, you can hire help. I'm not saying do all the work you think marketing means you have to do that you don't want to do. But I am saying the part that goes, how do I enroll a person? How do I help them step into transformation? That to me is what it means to be responsible for for helping them.
Do you make a delineation between sales and marketing?
They're behavioral delineations. It's like in the if we go all the way down to the bottom, all of it is the process of moving people through a story. Like, well, either one on many or one on one. It's a contiguous, for the customer, they're not different things. For the customer, they're moving through the narrative of their life. For the customer, they woke up in the morning with a problem. They interacted with some messaging on social media. They ended up listening to this podcast. They're, being pulled forward into new ideas, into new thoughts and new feelings. They're perhaps being helped to discover a meaningful truth. They step into that truth. They decide to transform on a sales call, and they're given an opportunity to cross the threshold into the underworld in the hero's journey. And now they've given you money, and now they've embarked on an adventure. Like, where do you draw the lines on that to make one part marketing, one part sales? I'm not sure. To me, it's all psychology and behavior.
I think the way, so a couple things you said that I want to touch on is, so what I'm hearing you say about we have a mandate to become that person. It's like a message I've been getting a lot in my life lately is I haven't read the book, but from what I understand, the obstacle is the way. It's like the thing that is the biggest resistance, the thing I don't want to do. That's the thing that's necessary for me to grow in order to have what I want. Like instead of avoiding it, that's what. And like what I think about is like, yeah, we both coach a lot of entrepreneurs, and there's people who want to go from. We'll be like, what's your goal for money the next year? And they want to go from never having made a sale, or maybe they're like 40, 50,000 a year to $1 million. I'm like, do like if you just got $1 million that fast, they would have gone through the different levels of growth that it takes and getting the skill sets and putting a team together and having hard conversations, good conversations, and also developing the emotional muscles to deal with hard times and good times. Because there's a lot of people who go right to that million, but they don't have the muscle to deal with that much money, and then they just waste it. And then there's all these people on the street who are like, oh, redistribute wealth. But if we redistributed wealth, they would have never gone through the lessons to have a bunch of more wealth, and they're just going to lose that wealth.
Yeah.
What I'm hearing you say, it's interesting you're saying that because I've been getting this, like collections is something in my business I've been avoiding. Like I'm reprogramming starting now. I love dealing with collections. Well, that's not true. I am enjoying it more every day. I have avoided it, and I think it's by avoiding it, there's some lessons there or some transformation I need that I haven't gotten yet. And it's probably even just that external trigger on it is pointing to something I need to grow in.
Yeah. Well, a couple things. At the risk of painting with a broad brush, um, generally speaking, when somebody's like wants to make a big leap forward like that,
Hmm.
the most salient part about it to me is their desire to get out of the current moment and into the future is actually a desire to escape. And like the question is, what would you want to escape from? And the answer to that is very simple. Like any compulsion to escape the present moment comes from a story that in this moment we are somehow experiencing a life that we don't want. And the question that I would rather push into is, well, how did we get here? And the answer to that is always going to be because we decided to fill our life with what we don't want in some way. And the question around that would be, well, why did we do that? And the answer is because we think for some reason, because we've been taught by a society that has a very blunt sense of like the mechanics and the science of human behavior, that the way to get what you want is by first doing what you don't want.
Mm-hmm.
And to some degree, that showed up in what you said. You're like, there's the thing that I'm avoiding is the thing that I need to do. Kind of, kind of. But if you force it, meaning you don't create narrative of meaning around it and you just push into something you don't want and you don't have narrative for, then that's actually worse, not better. So if, for example, you mentioned collections, you're like, collections is something I don't really want to do. And so there's clearly something for me to learn in there. Yes. But if you push into it, well, your current truth is that you don't want to do it, you kick off a reality that sounds like I can depend on myself to do what I don't want to do. And then if you have desires for growth, and you go, okay, well, I want to grow my business, I want to make more money, I want to create more opportunities to do more of this thing that I don't want to do. You have a homeostatic feedback system that makes sure actually you don't grow into greater degrees of what you don't want, and you'll end up stuck wondering why we're suffering.
Hmm.
And so I want to insert a step between the two, which is like you have a God given mission and purpose. It's part of your mission also to help awaken that in other people, right? Like I've heard you say it a bunch of times, like I have a God given purpose to help people realize that they have a God given purpose. Like I've heard that there's this like series of threads for you.
Yeah.
And to the degree that you see collections as helping you fulfill that purpose, internally, what will happen is it will shift from something you have to do to something you genuinely want to do. You should not do the thing you think you have to do until you've connected enough threads to your God given mission and purpose such that you wake up in the morning with a genuine, heartfelt sense of desire that now you see collections as part of your purpose. Because then what happens is instead of forcing yourself into it and filling your day with something you don't want under the pretense it will somehow lead you to what you do want, which by the way, it doesn't, you have successfully created the fabric that says, I took something I didn't want. I helped myself see that I do want to do it. I see how it helps me fulfill my mission and my purpose. And so now what I'm doing is I'm filling my day with something that I do want to do. And I can trust myself to create a life that I want in the future. And then you'll unlock growth. And people don't want to do that step mostly. They want to push through the painful thing
Before you
into the
go on, give me a pause because
sure.
I want to digest what you said.
Sure.
Love that. I love that line. You can trust yourself. Say it again, please. To build a life you do want. Is that how
Filled
you
with what you want instead of a life filled with what you don't want under the pretense it will somehow get you what you want later.
can trust myself to build a life I do want instead of the pretext? That's a great way to frame it. And in a way, you could. It almost sounds like diminishing to put it this way. But in a way, you're getting yourself to want I would be getting myself to want to do collections. But it's not just that. It's not some trite technique. It's more, if I'm hearing you right, it's recontextualizing it within the mission. And if it's a part of the mission,
Then you'll want to do it.
experience of it, even in this moment, starts to shift.
Correct. Correct. So
Mhm.
this is
Hmm.
why it's so important to know what's meaningful and important to you. This is why the first day of my 3-day live event called The Choice is all about a reconnection with, and for many people, the first true connection with their intrinsic medial prefrontal cortex driven
You just lost the
hierarchy of
on that.
values.
What's a medial prefrontal cortex?
It's the part of your brain that lights up when you're doing what truly inspires you and what you truly love. When
Yeah.
you're being who you truly are, when you are your most authentic self. It's the seat of the most spiritually activated human mammalian animal.
Mm.
And so most people, like, look, we've been trained, like Alex Hormozy, it's such a like I'm not judging the man, okay? But like the people who have gone before us, who we look up to, who have become successful in their own way, they followed a particular path. They demonstrated certain skills. They did certain things in order to achieve the success that they have. And then they produce content to try to help us, which is so helpful and so serving and so loving. And then the problem is our society is not built to comprehend and have a respect for the mechanics and the science of human behavior. And so what he says, or what they say, is stuff like, okay, Jase, a good business does collections. Okay. A good business has a system in place for how you manage your collections. Okay. And so therefore, you should have a system in your business and you should make sure that you're managing your collections. That's what they say. And you're like, oh, sounds very reasonable. Let me put that on my checklist of all the things that I should do as a good business owner. And then Jace wakes up in the morning and goes, I have a desire to be a good business owner, which I have been told includes at times doing things I don't want to do because they are necessary, because they are requisite responsibilities. That's the narrative, and that's as far as we go. And then you go, but if I'm being honest, I don't really want to do it. Right? There's a part of you that's like, actually, I get it. I get it, Dad. I get it, God. I get it, Alex Hormozy. I get it. I should do it. But I don't want to do it. What do I do? And you know what they say? Do it anyway. And I just want to be clear. That is the moment of mistake. You absolutely should not do it anyway. You should do one of two things. One, delegate it to someone who truly loves it,
Mm.
to a person whom that activity is intrinsically aligned with their purpose, with their mission, so that when they wake up in the morning and they go, I want to do these collections, you know, because they want to do it, they're going to be brilliant, they're going to be creative, they're going to be responsible and disciplined and organized, they're going to find new opportunities, because that's what happens when someone loves what they're doing and they love who they're being. And if you don't have one of those people in your life, link it to what's important to you so that it becomes something you want to do before you, quote, do it anyway.
Mm.
That shift is the one most important distinction entrepreneurs, I believe, today can make, because by filling your life with all the things you think you should do, you're creating a life you do not want. You're collecting evidence that you can trust yourself to build a business you do not want to run. And you're not being the person you want to be. So therefore, you cannot trust yourself to grow a business that will simply be more of what you do not want, doing things that you do not want to do, suffering in a way you don't want to suffer, and then you will need to be saved. And the minute you need to be saved, you're going to call up Alexander. You're going to say, can you wheelbarrow some money into my life? Because I think money is going to solve the problem that I need to be saved from.
Mm.
It's not going to solve the problem because you're going to keep doing what you don't want to do and being who you don't want to be. That's the problem.
We can just end the pod now. That was great. That's awesome. What a great way to think about it. Huh. The marketing portion, the way I've received the marketing message is it's like an over there thing you have to master. Like it's if you're going to be on Facebook, it's like an over there thing. It's like,
Yeah. But is there anything more important than like sitting across from someone and helping them decide they want to give you money
no, I mean, well,
besides the mission and your family and your kid and in the context of business, you know?
yeah, it's underneath the mission. It's underneath the helping them become, and then the money becomes a part of that, the measure. I don't think there's anything in a business more important than sales. I mean,
Yeah. Well, and how are you going to help them become like so let me tie a thread back to that. How are you going to help them become who they want to become if we don't have the skill of helping them decide they want to transform? That's marketing, that's sales.
yep,
Why
yeah.
why would you delegate that to someone?
After this conversation, I don't know why. It's more, and what you're saying is, um, kind of like you were saying the collections thing. Get it to want it, and then you could find someone who loves to do it. Uh, you might want to delegate it for the sake of time, or get people to help you do the marketing, but you're not going to abdicate it like you were saying earlier.
I have copywriters. I've got a really great chief copywriter, and I've got a junior marketing associate, and I've got a marketing technology expert, and I've got a chief operating officer, and I have a chief of staff, and I've got two interns, and I've got support in terms of like video editing, and I've got a whole team under me. But I don't show up to work hoping to God one of them is going to save me from something I don't want to do or be.
Yeah.
I show up and I start my day like quite literally in the affirmation of identity. Like today I am the marketer. I'm the closer, I'm the leader, and I'm like the one that my clients need me to be and that I want to be. So from that perspective, like what would I love to see happen? What would I love to do or be to help my clients today want to transform? How can I deploy my skill and my capability and the resources at my disposal, which includes my team, to engage in marketing strategies that I genuinely love, that I believe in? And by anchoring it in that, I get a totally different set of answers than what is Alexander going to do today to save me from my like I don't want to think about it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to, Alexander, you do the copywriting. I'm not a copywriter. I'm not a marketer. I don't think that way. I don't want to look at the Facebook ads. It's too complicated. Can you just tell me what I should do? Sure, but now I'm the CEO of your business. Like, I guess, and actually I won't anymore because I don't want to save my clients and I haven't figured out how to provide that service without ending up in that savior role. So I'm taking a minute from providing that, but like
Have you
that's the vibe.
that? Are you not doing the agency stuff anymore now?
I'm selling certain agency services. I've dismantled the vertically integrated offer. I will not step into a business and act as if I'm their CMO. I will not take responsibility for their revenue generation because I want the CEO to be, I want it to be collaborative and I want to help a good CEO do their marketing better. I don't want to be the person who does the marketing for someone else's business. And that's a very important distinction. And it took me 10 years to figure that out.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So like if, someone walked into my world and I believed them and I collected enough evidence that I was genuinely helping them, not saving them, I would 100% provide services. But I don't currently trust myself to make that decision because I have not found, honestly, I don't think I've had more than two clients in my whole life where I got to help instead of save.
I can
And
see that too. We have a ton of you just put a word to something I've been feeling with uh, clients we've had over the years. There is an element, oh, save me. Like I signed up, now save me. And it's like, no, you got to do work. Get up, get off
yeah,
your ass, start moving.
yeah, yeah.
So let me ask you a question related to this. I look at people pretty much in three areas of business now. Coaching anyway. The first one is they want to make it real. Like they've been sold this dream, they don't have a sale. They're like, I want to make this thing real. The second one is they've made $1 to maybe 50,000 bucks. And they're like, okay, this actually works. I want to make this multiply. And then the third area is they're over 100,000, a couple 100,000, and they want to make it to $1 million range. So what would you say for each one of them, whether make it real, make it multiply, or make it millions? Where do you think their focus ought to be right now?
Yeah. So for all of them, I think the focus is the customer. Uh, there's a part of me that feels like what I should say is focus on your mission. But if we're talking about leverage, like I want to make it real, the most important mechanism in making it real is making it real for your potential customer, not for you. So like that compulsion, I want to make my dream real. Okay. The way you make your dream real is you help your customer's dream become real. So shift your context directly into the mind of your customer. Begin to deeply understand what they're laying awake at night thinking and feeling, the problems that they have from their perspective, the beliefs they have in their life, and begin practicing meeting them in those beliefs and meeting them in those values and meeting them in their problem, and then helping them move from whatever perspective they have into your solution. That is core capability number one. So that applies to all of them, but it is most important when we're validating an offer.
Let me jump in real quick. So to me, the language I would use is every coaching company has a promised land.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we name this To the Promised Land.
Yeah.
Like there's a promised land that you do in marketing, there's a promised land a health coach does. And so one of the things we say is it's where they get, not what they get. And so what I'm hearing you say is really focus on your client and where's the promised land they want to get to and help them see that they can get there and that it's real and help them get in touch with their particular promised land. And so for each coach we're coaching, they have a promised land and then they have a promised land for their clients. And so it's on getting your client to that promised land.
Yeah. Well, and so yes, the promised land, and I believe the reason a client doesn't have the promised land they say they want is because there's a valley of death in front of them. There's like, you know, the underworld of the hero's journey. There's a pit.
Yeah.
And generally speaking, inside that underworld, there are facts and feelings that they don't want to admit, that they're terrified of, that they're not being honest about, and that they don't really want to feel. They're terrified of their feelings, especially in a coaching context. And so having an appreciation for where they want to go, the promised land, is absolutely critical because it draws the arrow. And then the coaching that I give my clients in my marketing accelerator is almost entirely not on how to help them see the promised land more clearly. It's how to help their clients step into their truth so they become capable of transformation, so that they can move into that promised land from a place of truth. If you help someone get to a promised land, like we talked about this at the top of the call, you help someone get to a promised land without going through the requisite challenge, you give them that $1 million, it burns to the ground, they haven't meaningfully changed. They might have the result, but they are not the person who sustains it. They're not the person. And so 100%. And what are the mechanics of identity transformation that go on in the mind that help them become the person who can have that promised land in their life?
Yes. Yeah, money doesn't make you, it reveals you, and it makes you more of who you are. So people that will short circuit to getting a whole bunch of money. I was interviewing my friend Troy yesterday, and he was talking about how he caught the tech boom and he had all these unhealthy habits, and those unhealthy habits just went and really waylaid his life, destroyed his marriage and stuff. And so there is a beauty to the journey. It doesn't mean we have to languish in poverty. And frankly, one of the big things we believe in our company is Natalie and I were just talking about this the other day. Typically there is no big external shift without first a big internal shift. And the way I put it is, life's going to give you, you're going to get a seminar one way or the other. You're either going to get the seminar life gives you, or you're going to sign up and go to a seminar. And the ones life gives you is always more expensive, always more expensive. And so, yeah, that you can short circuit's not the word, but you could compress the time it takes to get somewhere by pushing inside and doing the inside work, and then the external will show up for that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
well, like this is such a good callback. Like if we bring back up this concept of abdication and the failure to fulfill or undertake a responsibility or duty, you're speaking to this exact idea. There seems like there's this homeostatic universal feedback mechanism. Alexander isn't telling you or making you be responsible. Jase isn't one telling you you're responsible, but the universe is revealing to you if you are undertaking with responsibility your duties. And if you fail to undertake your responsibilities or duties, the universe will demand them of you in a different way. So
Mhm.
in that
Oh,
regard,
I like how you said that. Man, you got to take some pauses after you lay down these awesome thoughts for these. You don't have to do anything. I invite you to. Like you said, some brilliant stuff. Let me compress. Say it again. That last part again.
if you fail to undertake the responsibilities or duties which are intrinsic to you, life will hold you accountable to them.
You said it a different way. Life will
Well,
make you do it.
yeah, life's gonna make you be responsible.
Oh, that's like, it's great and it's daunting. It's like, well, one, why keep avoiding it? And then two, oh, like,
Yeah,
you better push into it.
yeah. Well, it's kind of like screw you, dad. Like, you don't tell me who to be, what to do. Like I can get around my own nature, don't you know? It's like, well, can you? You can get around other men. You can't get around God. Like, you can shirk a responsibility imposed on you by your father. You cannot shirk a responsibility imposed on you by the father.
Mm. So, good question for you. What I'm hearing you say, we're talking about marketing and sales, and like accounting would be a part of the mission. Doing your
Hmm.
taxes would be part of the mission.
Yeah.
You're not saying do it all. You're saying,
Be in command. Sit on the throne. Stop telling the story that like you shouldn't have to govern this domain. You built a kingdom. Get your staff, sit on the throne, govern your domain. You know when you're not being in good government of your domain. And also, why should you be king if you're not willing to make sure that all of this domain is well governed? Tend to the gardens, take care of the people, make sure there is food, make sure there is water, make sure there are people divided amongst roles like doctors and healers and preachers and teachers. Make sure that this society functions, or else you do not deserve to be king. So
yeah,
stop whining that there must be accountants and start looking at the balance sheet of the kingdom. Now, that paternal Alexander showing up, like, but if you just take what I'm saying and go try to do something you don't want to do, you'll never do it and you'll want to be saved. It's an Ouroboros eating its own tail. So we must insert the step of being a conscious and powerful creator and sell ourselves on why we might want to do that.
that's so awesome, dude. That's great, man. If you ever do like a overall business coaching program, there's something about take the throne, or
Mm.
something you just said was great copy and naming for a coaching program. Like take the throne, be the something of your kingdom. That was hot, dude. That was
Thank you.
nice.
Thank you.
So it's really ownership and enjoyment, loving, affection, attachment, commitment to all of it, and then from that space, outsourcing it.
Hire
Because
people who would love to do it. The thing is, this is meta. It's a fractal. If I'm filling my life with what I would love, and also I do my best work when I love what I'm doing, do we not? Like, we're most creative, we're most inspired, we're most fulfilled, we're most like we can see the most, we can look the furthest, we got the most energy, we're most organized, we're so reliable. When we're doing what we love, all of us shows up,
hmm
right? So if we buy the idea that I can build a business by being who I want to be and doing what I love, which I think most people have like a hidden objection to. People are listening to this and they're going, I don't buy it. I think I have to suffer. And so that's an objection, for the listeners. You really need to work through that. And, Jase can help you. I can help you. But let's imagine you can build a business and a life that you love filled with what you want to be, do, and have. Let's imagine that possibility exists. Then that means what you'll see clearly is the best way to do that is to hire a team who also would love to be, do, and have what you're asking them to do each day. And we all want that. We all want a team who wants to do their job, right?
Yeah.
But most business owners have the story, people don't want to do what I want them to do.
Mm.
So then they go, so therefore I don't want to hire people because I'm going to hire people that don't want to do what I want them to do. So I might as well do what I don't want to do, and I might as well stay small.
Yeah, the whole good help is hard to find. Plus, as coaches, if they buy into they have to suffer, then I believe we transfer to our people. We are the space for our people to become something. So if a coach is believing they have to suffer in their business, then some part of their coaching is going to teach their people you have to suffer in pursuit of the life you want.
Oh, and so then weirdly, we might actually build a business that makes sure we hire our employees under the pretense that they need to suffer and then be shocked when those suffering employees want to escape or be saved.
Yeah. So what do you do with this? So like one of the things I believe, and I've been talking to my team about this for a year or two, is what would light you up the most to do? And can we make that happen through this company? What do you do if you have a team member who is suffering, whether it's it's all self-imposed, right? But they're acting like I've had someone on my team say, I have this vision of growing this separate company, but I'm putting so much time into your company, I'm not doing it, and so they're creating this thing of suffering.
Yeah, that's manipulation. If I'm following my intuition right. If you wanted to build your business, you'd be doing it. Is the answer actually? Because I don't trust what you say, I trust what your behavior demonstrates. Our behavior demonstrates what's important to us. So our stories can diverge from our behavior, and we like to believe that those stories are true. They're not. Our behavior demonstrates what's important. So actually, Mr. or Mrs. Team Member, I don't agree. I think what you fill your day with is most important to you. And so we're going to do one of two things. We're either going to call your bluff, you're going to depart to go build that business you say you want to build so that you can discover for yourself if you truly want to build it or not. Or we're going to let go of this story that you use as a way of trying to manipulate me into giving you what it is you think you want. Because I don't buy it.
That's hot. Woo, it's good. Yeah, this is awesome. Hey, are you still, I know this is a left turn, are you still hosting people in the virtual studio?
Yeah. We actually just went through a process of, I had this one website that had way too much stuff in it. We just broke out all of my websites. So I've got my primary website now for my coaching practice, but it refers to measurablegenius.studio, which is where I'm hoping to, honestly, it's a shame. I've built this amazing studio and I'm continuing to invest. We're building a whole new set in the next month or so before my event. And it sits empty 93% of the time. And it's a shame, really. But yeah, we love hosting people in the studio.
So I need to use the restroom, so let's do this. I want to show the sizzle reel you guys put together for me. So if you're listening to the audio, I don't know, just check out the video when you can. For those of you on YouTube, what this is, so we held an event there in November 2023. It was our biggest event, attendee-wise, and most sales we ever did. I think we did like 670,000 in sales. Great event.
You killed it.
And did all those stick? No, we had some dropouts, that happens. And still, 670 was fantastic. And so what Alexander's team did is after day one, they put together a sizzle reel. We showed the beginning of day two, and then they put together one on day two. We started the beginning of day three, and that gets like the energy up, the vibe up, the excitement up in the room. So I'm going to share this. It's about a minute long, and
we're going to run to the bathroom.
Yeah, we're all going to run to the bathroom. We get 1 minute and 21 seconds. Can you hear it? And here is the day one video.
Welcome home. Welcome home.
Welcome home.
Welcome home. Welcome home. Welcome home.
That was fun.
I'm showing the day one also right now. Yeah, that studio is just absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, it's getting better. We're currently I just finished pricing out materials. We're building a four person corner desk set for multi-participant podcast.
Yes, good.
And it's gonna be so nice. I've got like this really great vision, and yeah, so we're hopefully gonna get that built in time for my event in a month. And we're moving some stuff around. But when we have that built, we'll have the LED wall stage, which all of you saw, which actually since you've been in has been upgraded. We've now upgraded that wall twice. It started as kind of a low resolution wall. It became the wall that you see in that video. We've upgraded it again. We made a trade with a guy who had panels that were out of match, and he wanted to have more of the panels that I had. So I traded out those panels for better quality panels, and I didn't have to pay any extra cash. So
Yeah.
we've got that. We've got the living room set. We'll have that 4-person desk set. We've got the whiteboard set. Like, it's just such a cool environment to come do a 1-day live event, or even a half-day live event, or a webinar, or 3-day sales event like you did. It's so fun. And like, how did you feel while you were in the space, like as a presenter versus like at your computer doing a Zoom?
Well, besides how I feel, let me go to what popped in my head first. I've said for a long time the media is the message, and what I mean by that is if I sell from stage and I get on stage and I say I got to tell you this story. I want to tell everyone. So I was at this event, and I just made my home study course and pressed it out like 6 months before that. And I got brought in to be a coach at this place where people were pitching their things to venture capitalists. And it was stunning to me how bad most people were at selling. And they're pitching, and they have, potentially millions of dollars in funding on the line. They didn't learn sales. None of them had learned sales, and none of them had learned how to sell from stage. It was stunning to me. This was before I pivoted to do speaker training. I think that's one of the things that actually got me inspired to pivot to speaker training. But but I think they were doing like an all natural version of that with club soda and juice and whatever pitching. And so I'm talking to one of these guys, and I'm like, dude, and I had my like a whole bag of latest greatest stuff on sales in here. You ought to get this. He goes, really? Let me see that. It's the latest greatest. And I'm like, yeah. And he literally takes the CD out, and this was probably back in 2012, 2013, 2011, somewhere there. He grabs his phone and he goes, how do I get it? And I was like, you mother. And then but I got the point. If I say it's the latest greatest, but it's on a CD, it ain't the latest greatest. Because it's if we have the latest greatest and we offer it on a tape, well, the media sends a message there. The media says this is old school, this isn't modern, this isn't great. And so tying that into your question, when we're doing events, one, so how did I feel? Yeah, it was amazing. When we're doing an event, a workshop, a conversation like this lends itself to it.
Yeah.
The bigger the event, the higher price point we're selling, the more. And so having a professional studio that looks amazing, that has a wall, that has nice decorations, that has different shots within it, keeps people engaged, keeps people excited, and makes them feel like, oh, we get. So it's also, I had someone working with me who, he was kind of in a CEO role, and he's very, very conscious of cost on things. He's like, let's just run our 3-day events from your house. So we did a 3-day event from my house. And so the feedback was it didn't look very professional. Because this is fine for a podcast. This is great for a podcast. I can pull off for my current clients a 1-day workshop's great. There's intimacy. It looks good. I got a good camera. For a 3-day event, though, this gets boring after a while. For a 1-day event, this is totally fine. For an intimate workshop, this is totally fine.
Yeah.
For a 3-day event, it's not super exciting. So
Yeah. I mean, and I really wrestle because it's like I also don't want to say like, yeah, like there's people who are like, I don't know, do you really need the production value? And then there's people that are like, I don't know, production value lowers authenticity. Like there's all these opinions about it. So I just got to go with my truth, which is I love putting on a show. I love the show. I want wipes and I want like well-produced media. Like when we cut to media, like I want the production booth to cut to media. I want the video to take over full screen. When I'm showing my slides, I want it in a nice frame and presentation. Like when I'm having a guest, I want to sit across from them in my living room, or like when I'm sitting down with my host and my chief of staff and we're at my new 4-person desk, just coming back after lunch, and we kind of look like we're on Fox News, except it's like a world-class business coaching 3-day event experience. Like I love that. So at least for me, oh, and by the way, the social content, let's fire.
fire.
For me, I wanna be on stage and I want to put on a show, and so I built one. I just wanted it, so I have it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. All of that. I'm a yes to all of that. Give me. Hey, when do you leave town after? So, Alexander's coming down to speak at my event. I'm doing in-person training in Boise. When do you leave town? Sunday? What time?
Currently, I'm planning to leave on Sunday.
What time?
Morning, 8, 10 ish.
Work. I was going to invite you to come to church with me because I go to an awesome church, and then 2, I was going to reach out to Stephen Marley and see if I could set up a lunch or something for all 3.
Well, let me see what I can do. I will, if I can move my flights around, I'll make it happen.
I don't know if they're going to be available for a lunch because they may be with their kids, but I'll reach out and see what I can put together. I think it'd be cool for you guys to meet. He's got an awesome studio also. Not like yours though. He has just one video wall, but they built it out. So it's a really cool space. The way they built it, this is where we're having our October event. They made the sitting area like, picture one wall of the square is a giant video wall, and then the other 3 walls of the room, 2 of the walls, they went to New York and have someone take a giant panoramic picture, and so they put that up, and so it looks like you're standing or you're attending class at the top of a skyscraper.
That's cool.
And then they backlit the photo. It was a photo at night with LED lights and fiber optic, I think.
Yeah.
So it looks like that. And then they finished, like, it looks like girders, like, those old pictures of the guy sitting on the steel girders back in the day.
Yeah.
It looks like girders around the edge. So you're actually, and then they have like kind of a clearish tarpish color. So it looks like you're at the top of this unfinished thing taking a class. It's
That's
really cool the way they did it up. It's very,
That is
very
cool.
I think you like it.
Like that type of
good for you guys to meet too.
That type of inspiration and creativity. Like I was just here till, I don't know, midnight last night. Adam and I spent 6.5 hours like dreaming and like putting together a material list for this set that we're going to build. And it's like, how can it look and what will it feel like and what colors and textures are we going to use? And like there's a whole version of art inside, studio experiences.
Yeah, it's awesome. That's super cool.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you a question about magnetizing. So we've been talking about that and method. So we're talking about owning, I don't know if that's a phrase, owning all the parts of the business, being the king of it. Right?
Yeah.
for coaches right now, and I know, how do I want to phrase this? There are
Gently.
there are magic bullets. The magic bullet is decision. Beyond decision, what do you think right now? What are you seeing as the trends or the best ways for people to magnetize their clients into their coaching company? And magnetize for me is the combination of your messaging and your marketing vehicles.
Yeah.
What?
So I think one thing for sure is swing bigger than you think you need to. So I've worked with coaches now for 15 years as their CMO, as their marketer, whatever. And I know there's a bunch of you listening that are bootstrapping. And so like this might seem like I'm saying something that's just impossible, but like uh, I want to fix your mind on a goal so that you can make what you perceive as possible.
Mhm.
Um, when you run your campaign, any campaign, spend 10 times more than you think you feel comfortable spending because you're underestimating volume. So, Jase, webinars still work. People just don't swing hard enough. They're not willing to buy leads for $18, and they're not willing to spend $5,000 to buy 300 leads. But you can spend $5,000 to buy 300 leads, and you could spend 10 or 15 to buy 1,000 leads, and you could put on a webinar where there's a statistically significant number of people in the room to sell your offer such that you make your ad dollars back. But when you pull your punch and you have 12 people show up and you sell 0, then what you say is webinars don't work. So that's mistake number 1, is you're not swinging hard enough because you're afraid. And you're like, I don't know if it's going to produce an ROI. Like what marketing strategies work? Should I do challenges? Should I do a webinar? Trust me, I built every funnel under the sun. They all work. It's not the funnels, you guys. Every funnel works. So that's a logistical answer. The second answer is you're not telling the truth. If you're performing and you're not showing people who you truly are, if there's things you're not saying, if there's a person you're not being because you're afraid, you're not just unattractive, or you're not just not attractive, you're literally repulsive.
Whoa, say
And
it again?
when you're not being honest and when you're hiding parts of yourself because you're afraid of being seen, you're not just not attractive, you're repulsive.
Whoa, by being seen, you mean positive or negative?
Well, I mean, generally the things that we're afraid to share with people we perceive are negative. I'm here to tell you they're probably not, but for the person listening who's afraid to show a part of themselves to the world, they most certainly think that the part they're hiding is negative. Or, you know, I guess there's like the Marianne Williamson, like the thing you're most afraid to share is not that you're weak, but you're powerful beyond measure. Yeah, kind of, but I think mostly it's like, you know, I like something. I am concerned that people will oh my God, I have a perfect example. Okay. I'm sitting with a group of women at a birthday party 2 nights ago. And one of the women says, Alexander, I don't understand. Like, I love my vinyl records. I want to share my vinyl records. I put my reels on Instagram when I do my vinyl records. I get like 10 views on my stories. But when I take like the top down boob shot in my sports bra, like I get hundreds of impressions on my stories. And then she does the thing and she goes, I wish I didn't have to use my sexuality basically to get attention. I wish people would just respect me for how smart I am and how good I am at business. And I was like, this is so you're so mistaken. So in that example, the thing that she's trying to hide is her sexuality. So for the women listening to this, if you perceive that you, quote, shouldn't have to use your sexuality to get attention, there's a part of you that's afraid of people discovering that you're sexual. There's a part of you that doesn't want to be seen as sexual. It might come with danger. It might come with what you perceive as unwanted attention. So to get attention you want, you also have to get attention you don't want. Like there's a whole list of reasons why you might be afraid of being seen as sexual.
Or just being
or
looked down upon or called.
people are going to think that I'm just using my looks to get their attention. Okay, newsflash, you should. Nobody wants to open an unattractive box.
To
So
be clear,
that
you're not saying she has to use her sexuality. You're saying just play every ace. If she's attractive, use it.
here's what I'm saying. God says that she has a responsibility to deploy the resources at her disposal in order to achieve the goals she has. I am actually saying you have to share your sexuality because your sexuality is a part of you. And as long as you hide it, and as long as you fear it, and as long as you attempt to smother it, and as long as you're trying to use other parts or compensate and deploy other things and throw the baby out with the bathwater to get what you say you want, you're going to come across as having interference in the signal, and it's going to come off not just as not attractive, but literally repulsive. And so what I'm saying is there's a healthy way to mix in your feminine nature. But also men are sexual too. We just like, it's perceived in a different way. But some of the most powerful, effective leaders imbue their nature with their sexual energy.
Yes.
It's impossible to separate.
So you're not saying she has to do the top-down boob shot, which is interesting because she doesn't want to do it, but she's doing it, and she's doing it already, so she's already selling out. You're not saying she has to do a crude top-down boob shot. You're saying release your sexual energy, like own it in your presence.
Correct. I'm not saying be a prostitute.
Yes.
I am saying honor your nature.
Yeah.
And more importantly, what I'm saying is,
let me add in before you go on. And you're not saying to someone else, you got to be sexual. You're saying whatever you are, own it.
correct. I am saying you are sexual.
I mean,
Every human is sexual. And if you have a compulsion to hide your sexuality, I'm saying you have a responsibility to stop hiding. I'm not saying the way you stop hiding is by becoming overtly exhibitionist or doing things you don't want to do. Because remember, my grounding is there's a narrative here where you get to fill your life with what you want. So one, objectively, factually, you are sexual. Two, if you're a woman, you're a woman. If you're a man, you're a man. I know there's 72 genders. I'm not going to list them. Three, if you feel compelled to hide that nature, if you feel compelled to smother it and you compensate by trying to overexpress other parts of you, you're a liar. That is a lie. And it's not just, and this is one of those things, it's not just not attractive in terms of attention and magnetism. It is repulsive. It actively generates repulsive energy. And anytime, and we've gone down a rabbit hole because I wanted to use that polarizing example. Anytime we do that thing with any part of ourselves that we're afraid to show the world, we become repulsive non-magnetic. So the goal isn't just to be magnetic. I think for many people, the first goal should be stop being repulsive.
So you stop being repulsive by stopping the hiding of who you are, or the
love yourself.
The subconscious misdirection away from what you think isn't enough.
Yeah, because that part of you you're hiding, you're afraid other people won't love, you're not loving it.
Yes.
So what I'm really saying is love yourself, love the parts that you're currently hiding, so that when you show up in the world, you show up loving yourself. People are attracted to people who love themselves.
Yes. That's awesome. So you got me thinking, which part of myself what am I hiding about myself that I need to be more upfront and authentic with?
That's such a useful question, man.
Great. And there's real freedom in it. I find, so I used to do this event called the Limited Weekend back when I had Life Tigers, which was my personal growth seminar.
Mm-hmm.
And it was super cool. We'd run a beach house in St. Augustine, Florida. We'd have chefs come in, do all the food. And we'd have one coach for every 2 attendees. And the attendees, Thursday night, they would come in and we do some group work, like 12 people max. Then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they do deep hypnosis each day. And they'd work out different. Anyway, I would circle everybody up like Friday night, the attendees and me, just the attendees and me, and we would share our deepest, darkest secret, something they had never told anybody. And it was really interesting. Always, like, I'm going to say person number 2 says something like, whoa. By the time it gets to person 11, everybody forgot what person number 2 said anyway. Like, because everybody's carrying their own stuff. And then the freedom, though, I really wanted to write this book, and I might still do it, called You're Not Effed Up. And it would just be stories of all the things people are hiding. And I think if everybody knew how messed up everybody else is or was or what they've done, then everybody would go, oh, wow, I'm really not that messed up. And there could be a lot of freedom in that.
100%. Yeah, it's calibrating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Calibrating is the word I would have said.
Well, it's calibrating. What I mean by that is, if I have a calibration in my mind that, like, because I'm overweight, that means I'm a terrible person. My calibration's way over here. Part of that calibration is because I'm assuming I'm the only person, or I don't have evidence to support that the calibration, like the relationship of the perception of my facts, the emotional response is broken.
Yes.
Everyone is 10 pounds overweight. Everyone is 20 pounds. Everyone is 50 pounds overweight. But we're like, yeah, but my version is worse because I know my truth. You don't know my truth, so you don't know how bad it is. Well, I do though. And the minute you know I know, the calibration adjusts.
Yeah, this is gold, man. What's really interesting that I just got epiphany from talking about is usually I think I want to screen share when we think about people in the marketing world. I think this is or maybe it's just me, whatever. Here's what I just got. Here is the average entrepreneur, and we'll call this the day-to-day day version of you.
Yeah.
And what I have perceived marketing to be is marketing is the it'll be like sun rays shooting off of someone.
Yeah, I have a choir of angels singing.
Yes, so
Yeah.
this is the hero version slash extraordinary.
Yeah, slash totally fixed.
Yeah.
Like cured of all problems. I've solved every problem in my life. Now I can market version. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes, the curated, and then I think if you think about this, in a way, this is the new person who is taking their picture on their iPhone, the selfie for the, and this is the person who has the glamorous, amazing lifestyle shot they've done on the street. And so I think I've always heard marketing as this. We got to be this person over here. Your marketing is creating this image, but you're not seeing that at all.
Nobody wants that. Like, we actually don't want that.
There's a space for it, though, right? Like, there is a space for the beautiful photo, but it's in a different context than, look how perfect I am.
Yeah, so it's different. So, like, hey, it's so funny how, have you ever seen the midwit meme?
Yeah, and I should explain that for the people who are just on audio. I drew a picture of, on the left, it's just a little stick figure, and on the right, this giant stick figure that's perfected. So, the what meme?
The midwit meme.
No.
Okay, this is the midwit meme. For those of you listening on audio, think of like a standard distribution chart, meaning it's a chart that starts small on the left and it becomes big in the middle, and then it becomes small on the right again, like a little mountain. Okay, on the left hand side there is a dum-dum, like a very dumb person, and in the middle is like a middle class, reasonably intelligent university graduate, let's say, like somebody who has smarts, okay, and they're intelligent. Then on the right hand side is like a calm Jedi, like got his hood on, he's chill, doesn't need anything. That's the vibe, okay? On the left hand side is I don't know, I've got any problems and I don't really care, and I'm kind of cute and innocent. That's totally fine. And then in the middle is kind of what I think you're describing. I need to show everyone how great I am in order to win at marketing because of this, that, and the other thing. And then on the right-hand side is the Jedi, which is I'm inside my truth, and sometimes my truth is that I'm great. And it's like the energy behind it. I'm showing you this image so you like me is different than I'm showing you this picture because I love myself and I'm succeeding in creating a life that I want. The energy of need and compulsion in the former is repulsive. The energy of celebration of my own life is attractive. I'll give you an example. I posted on my Facebook a few days ago, at 37 years old, I love my body, finally, which is true for me. I've worked hard. I'm taking care of myself. I love myself. I've lost some weight. I look good in the mirror. I like how I look, which is the first time that's ever been true for me. And I just made a statement of fact because I want to share where I'm at with my friends and with my world. I'm not doing it because I need other people to validate for me that I like the way I look. I'm just saying I like the way I look now. And I've gotten more engagement on that post than 99% of all other posts. Because guess what? Everyone wants to love their way they look. I'm not saying, look at my six pack, look how great I am. Like, I'm not posturing for attention. It's a subtle form of like invitation into an idea. You can love your body too. I'm being that's a Jedi post.
And it's not like a lot of people who post pictures of their body who are actually very insecure and using their body to get attention.
Correct. Correct. So there's energetics.
What would you say to this, or what advice would you give me? Because I had an epiphany recently. I got off social media for a couple of reasons. I really started to despise Facebook. I really don't like what social media as a whole did during COVID and the censorship and I mean, what's his name? Zuckerberg's come out and said it, right?
Yeah.
So and then also a lot of the posts that I see on Facebook are what we're talking about. It's people putting out this front and not being authentic about who they are.
Yeah.
So I really pulled off social. The other thing that clicked for me was I didn't like that people were putting out these fronts, and I didn't want to be like that. And I really make an effort when I'm having a rough day. Like when my mom died, you hear about you know how football people be like when they're interviewed after they're winning a big game, they'll be like, "Hey, I want to thank God. I want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ." The day after my mom died, I made a post like that. I started with, "Hey, I want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. This is not a win, this is a rough day." And so I intentionally put out rough days because I want people to know what's there. So here's the question though. I realized this might sound goofy, right? When I came out of this big recession and depression and I was putting my life back together, I remember saying, I'm going to let myself eat anything and everything I want. I'm going to experience what it's like. By the way, I do not recommend that, you guys. It's a recipe for gaining a ton of weight. However, and I've got freedom with food, which I have now. Now I'm eating clean and I'm fasting and I have this freedom with food. And I think part of it came from that. That's not my question. This is my question. I just lost my question. Give me a second. So
social
I
media,
social media for
posting
all
bad days.
And I think part of it was, and part of the reason I let myself eat and drink anything I wanted, I went through this period when I became a new Christian. I lost everything. I mean, my house was foreclosed. I lost hope. I lost everything but Jesus. And they say he's not your everything till he's your only thing, which is great. And I got to a point where I loved myself because God loved me, not because of anything external. And so I'm mulling through how to put this question out there correctly. I think I pulled back from doing all those great looking photos and posting what a great life I have and all that other stuff on social media because someone else's opinion wasn't important to me. And I was really turned off by how many people were doing that and were damaging others because of the inauthenticity with where their life really was and the image they were putting out. Are you with me so far?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now I'm seeing, okay, to touch the life you want to touch, I maybe I already have the answer and you said it. I'm seeing it's time to share that again. It's kind of like the woman owning her sexuality. It's almost like the thing that's been tapping on my window or my door recently has been like, I need to own how I have a great life. I need to share it. I'm muddling. Are you picking up what I'm laying down?
I think so.
So I haven't been sharing it because I don't want to be one of those fakes like the other people, and I don't want to damage people. And I just got so sick of people putting these glitzy photos and look at how great my life is on social media, and not showing that they show the highlights, they don't show the lowlights. And so I've avoided either in a big way because I don't want to be like that. But what I'm getting from this conversation, I think this is opening up something that's been building around. I have a great life, and it's inauthentic and repulsive for me not to share how great my life is.
It's repulsive that you're not sharing who you are. It's not really about your life. Who is Jase? Show up in the world, Jase. Like, you are a man who has what he has because he's become who he's become. Share with us who you are. Share with us who you're becoming. Share with us what you're working on. Share with us what you care about. Share with us what you're inspired by. Share with us your challenges. Share with us your humanity. And the question is, why are you sharing that? And the answer is because sharing it is an intrinsic part of being seen so that you have the opportunity for people to ask you for help so that you can choose to help them, right? And then there's a part of this which is like, remember that the goal, the optimization for our energy is not to shape how people think and perceive of you. That's not the goal.
Wow, that's so contrary to what every other marketing person seems to say, or at least how I've heard it.
Well, from the perspective of personal development, if I'm investing energy in how you perceive me, someone else has perceived me differently. This is a zero. This will consume all of my energy. It's impossible to shape how every person perceives you. So therefore, the goal to shape how people perceive you is not a good goal. We swing through other people's perceptions of us into what we want. So I want to reconnect us to why we would share on social media. It's to help us achieve our dreams, our goals, our ambitions, our desires, and more importantly, our God-given purpose. So when we think about being perceived, it's a part of the formula, but it's not the end. Right? And anytime we're caught up in like, if I post this, how will people perceive me? It's not. If I post this, how will it help me fulfill my mission? If I post this, how will it help me attract the people I want to serve? If I post this, like a different set of questions. I hear so many people go, I posted this way because I didn't want people to think. Okay, they're already thinking it. And there's going to be people who think it. You can't control how everyone thinks. So that is a waste of our time. Let us not focus there.
That's awesome, dude. This has been fantastic. What a great conversation. By the way, I keep thinking about my limiteds, which is my advanced clients. I'd like to see, let's have a conversation later about bringing them to the studio for some training. It would be good awareness and marketing for your studio and good training for them. So we have an event coming up in July we're doing here in Boise called Rock the Stage, and we have like 3 different sets, and we move them through the 3 different sets each day. So they're on 3 different sets per day. So they're on stage at least 3 different times per day, and then we change the sets, we film it all. In one of the rooms we're planning to dummy up like a podcast room to give them training on how to be a podcast, sit across the desk. But coming to an actual studio like yours and getting them some photos and videos and training on how to rock a real studio stage would be really, really cool. So let's chat about that more.
Yeah, let's do it. Totally.
This has been fantastic. Any final thoughts? Anything else you want to share before we go?
Oh gosh. Yeah, like go forth and like be honest. There's a part of you that has a mission and there's people you want to serve. Like think very clearly as you can about what it is that you want and who you want to help and what problems they have and how you can connect what you want to what they want so that they want your help and you want to help them. Because at the end of the day, you're going to be most successful when you fill your days with what you want and less of what you don't.
Go Forth and Be Honest is a great name for a book. Great name for for marketing book.
To be honest, yes.
How can people find you? What's the best way to get in touch?
There's show notes on this podcast.
Yeah.
There's a link below this video, or this audio. It's like a jumpstart page on my website where you can get access to what it is we're up to and what's going on in my world. Or you could visit my website, measurablegenius.com.
Measurable Genius. Wait, do you spell it the Canadian way, the American way?
Without an E in the middle. Measurable, straight into the U. It's in the show notes. Go to the show notes.
Yeah, just go to the show notes, guys. Hey, Alexander, it has been awesome to have you on, man. Thanks so much for making the time today. This has been an awesome conversation. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you for having me.
Love you, man.
Thanks for joining me today on To the Promised Land podcast. If you're ready to grow your impact, master your message, and become the kind of speaker people can't ignore, head on over to our website, to thepromisedlandpodcast.com. That's where the real transformation begins. The links are all in the description.